Hello everyone and welcome back. It's In The Know, brought to you by the Racing Post and Coral. We're halfway there in this year's Cheltenham Festival then, and after last year's Cheltenham everyone said, oh, it's boring, it's predictable, we know exactly what's going to happen every time these odds-on shots turn up in small fields and they dominate and they win by 10 lengths and they're trained by the same man and they're ridden by the same man. Well, this year that's absolute poppycock, isn't it? The new Lion giving Dan Skelton his first Grade 1 novice hurdle winner at the festival. We had Lecky Watson upsetting the apple cart in the Brown Advisory. We had a runaway winner of the Coral Cup again, even though it was trained by Willie Mullins. It was still a pretty big price, and an incredible champion chase as well. And both a hugely impressive and hugely emotional win as Marine Nationale absolutely stormed up the Cheltenham Hill for the second time in his career. We also had an impressive bumper winner and a first win at the festival for Jody Townend, and a plot in unexpected party last year runs into a plot in Jazzy Matty in the Grand Annual this year. Look, you can't keep a good festival down, but undoubtedly I think the star of the show today was definitely a man with a stepladder from B&Q and a flag. But anyway, we'll get into that a little bit later on. Like, subscribe and get involved on the chat. So we're going to be getting stuck into Stayers Hurdle and Ryanair Day very shortly indeed. But we often get people in the chat and in the comments in particular afterwards saying, oh, these guys, this, that and the other, so on and so forth. They don't tip winners or whatever. But mainly we're just here to give you an insight into the races. It's up to you to make the decisions at the end of the day. But obviously if we do have winners, we're going to get our trumpets out and start blowing them. And it'll probably frustrate you if we do that as well. But we had a pretty good day between us on the show, and we're only halfway there, so who knows? It could get better with Thursday and Friday to go. My name's Ross Brierley. I'm joined once again by Fresh from the 80s.
Happy to be here, yeah.
Please, Robbie Wilders.
Please let me know your thoughts on my jacket. Got it from Lisbon in a retro shop. It gets a lot of compliments in the office, actually.
I absolutely love it. It does look like you're about to ride at Wolverhampton.
Yeah, it does.
It is very. They would make good silks.
Yeah, very much. Yeah, I can't really think of comparable. Maybe like Brown Panther back in the day. Used to have, remember him?
Yeah.
Orson Ledger used to have this sort of turquoise profile.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm trying to. I'm looking to pad out my collection, to be honest.
No, I absolutely love it. And after the show, if you subscribe to the channel, Robbie's going to do a workout video for you.
But I bloody need to this week, mate, because the fitness regime has fallen off a cliff.
You've been typing thousands and thousands and thousands of words.
Yeah,
it
takes its toll. Like, it's a brilliant week, it's great fun, but you sort of get out of your sort of healthy living routine. The diet goes to pot. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I'm a vegan, but I had a Kit Kat earlier. Like, I just
What?
Yeah, seriously.
Really?
Yeah, going off the rails.
Wow, that is.
I just had this craving earlier. I'm just a bit sort of under it, and sometimes you want to let your hair down.
Could have been worse. Could have been a Scotch egg.
Yeah, it wasn't. I would never do meat or fish, let me tell you, but a little bit of cow's milk every now and then when I'm stressed, let's have it.
All right, fair enough. Plenty of people are being stressed after today, whether you're a jockey or a trainer or an owner or anything really. But we've seen some. We've seen some really impressive winners, and the good thing about, we're just talking about this off air, the good thing about the Cheltenham Festival is even when you get to the end of the week, you think all the talking points are done and dusted, but they just create more talking points.
Yeah, exactly.
What's the biggest thing right after today? What's the one thing that you think is, I don't know, what's the bee in your bonnet or your big opinion? Or
well, the bee in everyone's bonnet is the starter, because I don't, how many was it today? 5 full starts, was it? And there were a few yesterday as well.
Yeah.
Like, there needs to be a rule change where you can give them another crack, because immediately a lot of horses are badly inconvenienced. Like, Primoz was running the Grand Annual very well backed. He had absolutely no chance after that. And he needs looking at, because we want a fair race, and luck is playing too much of a part of it at the moment. Yeah,
the ridiculous thing is, though, again, like any other sport, if you, I don't know, took a free kick in football before the ref blew his whistle or something, he said, right, you need to go and take it again. But just ignore the rules for the first, like, I don't know, just put it wherever you want, and everyone can stand where they want. Or if you're doing like the 100 metres and it was a false start, and everyone just right, get rid of the starting blocks and just mingle, just mill around.
When you spell out that, it's absolutely crazy. Like, in football, officials are very much held to account, probably too much so, but they don't really get held to account in a horse race.
It's just
I'm not wishing stick on anyone, but it does need looking at.
I mean, it's supposedly the premier week, and again, if it was Royal Ascot and my horse burst through the right, get rid of the stalls, get rid of the stalls.
It
Come on,
is
you get one
very
change.
amateurish, and you just know a lot of the time your punts have got no chance, and it shouldn't be that way.
Yeah, it is very odd. Anyway, Tom Segal, you've had I mean, we were bemoaning your luck last night, and to be fair to you, you've had your fair share of bad luck. But it turned around in the last two today, and we're only halfway there, mate. So Jazzy Matty, Bambino Fever, well done.
Well, as I say, if you get one winner at Cheltenham, I think you're doing well. I think Keels has had a few handicap winners. He's on fire, but as Robbie pointed out, you need so much luck in these races. I mean, you just watch the start of the Coral Cup, 15 horses can't win at the start. You watch the start of the Grand Annual, 10 horses can't win. If you're one of those 10, your bet's gone, isn't it? And you don't know. People say it could have been this horse's fault, it's that horse's fault. It's a different horse every week. I mean, look at John Bond. No one expected that to happen. He lost his race at the start, didn't he? And it's just a shame. I mean, I don't know. It's surely not beyond the wit of man to find some way of getting them lined up or getting them, or somewhat. We can't carry on like this. It's just completely unfair on everyone: trainers, jockeys, owners, punters. Not bookmakers, Mr. Stevens. You probably quite like it with the chaos, but you know what I mean. There's got to be some better way.
Well, and the thing is, that there's got to be a better way as well. And look, take the Champion Chase for example. Solness can't win from the get-go, but because he can't win and because he's a front runner, his jockey then goes, "Oh God, I need to get to the front," which means that horse then rushes up, probably inconveniences others. The horse gets buzzed up. The race is it doesn't just affect one horse. It's everyone panics, which then brings in this element of chaos. And that the last thing we need in National Hunt racing is chaos and horses getting out of the comfort zone and getting buzzed up and rattling into fences full pelt.
Well, that's what I think. I think that's got, I don't know. I don't know how you do it. I don't know whether you have sort of starting lanes where you all stand up in lanes, or you get hovercrafted in some stalls, because they keep telling me stalls can't be done in jump racing. I don't know how you do it, but it's got to be there's got to be a way to do it better than that, because it's not fair. It's simply not fair. I mean, a couple of races, we've all profited from it, so we all think it's great and whatever, but it's still not right. We want to see the best horses winning, don't we? Or not even necessarily the best horses winning. We want to see fair races is what we want. And I don't think half the races this week have been fair on a good few participants.
Yeah. That said, we've seen some incredible winners. I mean, they're not winning out of turn. I mean, I hold my hands up, got the new line completely wrong. I still would love to see him in a strongly run champion hurdle next year, because, crikey, that blend of speed and stamina is very good. And I do think, the Skeltons are taking over the mantle as the best team in the UK at the moment. And Marie Nationale, again, it was there in the form book, and we talked about it last night. And he
did I get stick for tipping him at the Dublin Racing Festival, Rob? Oh my God, I've never had more. How can you tip Marine Nationale? He didn't win, fair enough, that day. We should have. And now he's gone and won the Champion Chase. Good horses are good horses. It's simple as that. I think the point to make, isn't it? I mean, I think Dave and Robbie will agree with me. We've had I know it wasn't a boring champion hurdle, but it was a similar, what I mean? We've had Constitution Hill State Man, all those horses. We've now got Kopek de Board and the new line. We've got a new breed coming through. We've got an interesting champion hurdle sort of makeup for the future coming forward. You could throw in, loads of other horses.
Well, we might get one from the Triumph. We might get We've seen some chasers hate fences this week who might appreciate dropping back over hurdles, and we'll have horses who aren't even running here this week who might have a crack.
Exactly, and that's you say. That's what's great about the sport, and that's why we like it, and we keep coming back after every day, is because there is that element of intrigue. There is that new thing to focus on after every race, after every I'm going to sit and say this horse was unlucky, and you're going to say that horse was unlucky. You know what I mean? And it's interesting. It's that's why we all keep coming back. So that's what's great about it. I just wish we could get, And another thing, boys, Dave, have you ever seen worse jumping at a festival in your entire life? Because I haven't. You know what I mean? Two former champion hurdle aces, Ballyburn, Madgeborough, John Bon. Do you know what I mean? They just literally didn't lift legs, hardly any of them. In the Brown Advisory, it was the worst set of jumpers I think I've ever seen in my life. Only one horse jumped.
I mean, we had some bad jumpers, we've had bad tracksuits, we've got everything, haven't we? David Stevens, good evening to you. Again, I mean, last year's Cheltenham was supposedly boring and the sport was done and dusted, but yeah, I mean, there's enough to fill an entire gossip magazine after 2 days.
Good evening, gents. Yeah, look, I mean, first thing to go back to Tom's point about the jumping. I mean, the jumping in the Brown Advisory in particular was just horrific to watch at times. I mean, it just looked so amateur. I mean, Ballyburn has basically booked his place alongside Masborough in next year's Stayers Hurdle, hasn't he? I mean, that's the takeout from the two novice grade ones we've had this week. Lecky Watson was the one that jumped, and ultimately that's what, secured him the win. There was plenty going on today, lots of emotion, obviously. The Michael O'Sullivan, his two, Jazzy, Matty and Marine Nationale both winning. That was a great story, albeit in very sad circumstances. The new Lion, I mean, he did what he did. He's a 5-1 shot for next year's Champion Hurdle. For those that are interested, that extended GB's lead in the Prestbury Cup to 5-3. The day finished 9-5 to Ireland, obviously. They rattled off 6 in a row. But it's an interesting festival compared to, I'm probably going to say at least the last 10 years, where generally results on the first 2 days have been very punter friendly. And they've come into the last 2 days with pockets full and then results have sort of swung the other way. It's been very different this year. Winners have been harder to come by for a lot of punters. So it'd be interesting to see how that plays out over the next 2 days. But I think, look, the issue of the starts has to be looked at. And the one thing I would say about Cheltenham is they do look at things. They are constantly trying to improve it. We've seen it with the changes this year. So I'm sure once the festival is out of the way, they will look at the starts because, as Tom has alluded to, it isn't good for anyone. And it's not good for bookmakers because if punters feel they're not getting a fair crack of the whip, what do? They turn away. So something to look at. But the action has been, how can we call the jumping in the novice chase department? It's been, it's been interesting.
It's definitely been interesting. Right, we'll get on to tomorrow very shortly. A couple of shout out to people, though. Again, we are live and interactive, so hello to Ryan Gleddow, to Anish Farmer, to Jamie, to B. We had a couple of people. Who was asking for a... Tim Comley, I think, was asking for a shout out. And also a shout out to Tommy Daniels, who says if he's struggling with depression lately, but he loves the Racing Post podcast. I look forward to them so much. I love Racing Chat. Thanks, lads. Well, I genuinely, Tommy, again... Look, people think you can listen to us all you want, but this is a sport. A lot of the time, other sports as well, like Tom, you'll know as well, you go and support your football club, it's a team sport. You're surrounded by people who are cheering on for the same thing as you are. Racing can be quite solitary, I think. We all have different opinions. Sometimes you watch it on your own. You don't go to the races and all go, yeah, come on, let's cheer this one horse up. And I think the whole part of the point of these podcasts and all this Racing Chat and why people like chatting about Cheltenham so much is because everyone's just looking for someone else to bounce their opinions off.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And as feel for Tommy there, but we all go through, in this game. I've had it. You go through bad runs and you feel terrible. But the thing about racing is there's always the next race. There's always something to pick you up, and I think that's great. And you're right, Ross. Bouncing out. The point of these shows, which Coral have sponsored, is to get engendering enthusiasm in the sport from punters and from people that like it. Before that, there was not much. There was the paper, and that's it. But these things, they are good. People do enjoy them, and that's why, I enjoy doing them. You enjoy doing them. We come on here, and it's fun, and that's the reason we do it. Is to hope you at home enjoy it as much as we do enjoy doing them.
Absolutely. And Tommy, thanks for watching. And like I said, just if you're struggling, it doesn't matter if you're opening up on here or whoever it is. Just talk to someone. Be honest, and like I said, there's always something to look forward to. What we're going to look forward to is day 3 of the Cheltenham Festival after this.
You want over £2,000 in Cheltenham free bets? Visit racingpost.com/free bets, the ultimate hub for betting offers. Racing Post. Stay ahead of the field.
Okay, before we get excited about day 3 then, David Stevens, do you have any time-sensitive bits and bobs for us?
Not particularly time sensitive tonight, no, but starting with the Mayor's Novice Hurdle, we're going to look at Willie Mullins, a man, of course, who is leading the The trainer standings at the festival for him to win this Mares Novice Hurdle is a 6-4 from Even Money Shot, but no, not particularly time sensitive. The traders are, they're feeling a little bit more generous tonight, as they should be after the 2 days we've had.
Okay, so what you mean is whoever's in charge of pressing the button to stop the specials at 7 or 7:30 is either gone out or gone to bed. Is that what you're saying?
No, they'll be watching this show, of course, because they're all racing fans.
Okay, right. Let's start with the Ryanair Mares Novices Hurdle then, shall we? Grade 2 here, and a big field to get stuck into. Just the 24 of them. 6.5, 11 to 4. Galileo Dame 4 to 1. Aurora Vega 7 to 1. Maureen 15 to 2. Caroline Bamboo 17 to 2. Diva Luna 10s. Jubilee Alpha 10s. Venuisienne is 16 to 1, and it's bigger prices the rest. For a few years, it was Willie Mullins, Willie Mullins, Willie Mullins, Willie Mullins, and Willie Mullins, but the last 3 have gone to British trainers, of course, and hasn't stopped the market though, because the first 5 in the betting are all Irish trained. Paul Keeley's been banging on about Galileo Dame going for this race for ages, so he'll be thrilled that she's lining up here. But I think part of the reason he wanted her to go here, Robbie, is because I can't find a standout really.
No, not really. There's probably a lot of dead wood in there. It's often the case when there's a massive field and there's horses with not much form going on. We like East India Dock, don't we? And from a personal perspective, I thought his biggest danger in the Triumph on Friday was Galileo Dame, so I'm very happy she's running here instead. For that perspective, I've liked her for a while for this. She's getting a good amount of weight for age, and she was smart on the flat. If she was meeting 6.5 on the flat, she'd be receiving, giving £2, sorry, and now she's receiving £10, so that's interesting in itself. They've got comparable levels of form on the over jumps, but I don't know, I just really like what I saw from her at Leopardstown at the DRF. That was a much improved effort, and I'm not seeing that. I mean, it may well be proved wrong, but I'm not seeing too many potentially like top class fillies in this. And Galileo Dame is already right at the peak of her age group, so yeah, I think it's a good piece of placing, and I expect her to go very close.
Yeah, Galileo Dame then is a 4 to 1 shot for Joseph O'Brien and JJ Slevin. Apart from, it's actually quite rare, isn't it, Tom, to have a race of this nature and the front 2 in the betting. One be joined by Gavin Cromwell, one be joined by Joseph O'Brien, and then 4 Mullins horses snapping it there at their heels. But as we've seen today, being a big price and joined by Willie Mullins or not being favourite doesn't stop them winning. What did you like in this?
Nothing much at the prices. I don't know. I mean, I think I've written many articles about flat horses going jumping over the years, and there was a time 10 years ago where I would have been all over them. Now there's a time I'm all against them. Not because I just don't think the flat staying horses are any good anymore, because they're not bred to be any good. And therefore, a 93 now, or whatever Galileo Dame is probably equivalent of an 80 in my book a few years ago, or 10 years ago. So I don't know if when she was 12 to 1, I thought she was a great bet. At 4 to 1 now, given how she jumped on both occasions, I'm not sure that's a great price anymore. I want to be with her, but now she's 4 to 1, I can't be with her, I don't think. So I don't know. I think 6.5's got a very good chance too. She jumped really well. Now she did jump on her debut, so I'm not surprised she's favourite. I think she might strengthen a bit at the head of the market. The one I like most, though, I think might be Jubilee Alpha. She's from a totally different spectrum in terms of form, but I just like the way she does it. I think she'll stay really well. She's the type of winner that normally wins this type of race. So while I like the top of the market, I'm just thicker backing like flat horses in jump races when they're shorter prices than the jumpers. Because I think generally the jumpers are just better horses. I think they're better bred horses, half these jumpers, than the flat ones. So I'll take a chance on Jubilee Alpha, but it's not a race I've got too much interest in.
Okay. There's a couple I'm a little bit interested in. One of them short and dramatically, the other one's still a half decent price, but one of them is Diva Luna. I mean, we're talking about yards in form. Ben Pauling, crikey. I mean, obviously, he's had 2 winners at Huntington today, and they absolutely bolted up. You're talking about flat horses. If Galileo Dame and Diva Luna are at the bottom of the hill next to each other, I know which one's outstaying the other. She's got to have a little bit more to come, I thought.
Yeah, well, didn't she beat Jubilee Alpha in the bumper at Aintree last year?
Yes, yeah. And she just ground them into submission from the off.
That's a flat race. She jumps really well. She just hasn't been quite. I don't know. Ben Pauling's been on record saying she's not been quite as in the same sort of form this year, but as you say, she might bounce back now with the stable absolutely flying.
Yeah, I mean, and she won in February and April last year, so I just wonder whether might be a bit of a spring horse. And the one I've backed with extra places is Bluey as well at a bigger price. I think she'll probably get swallowed up at the bottom of the hill, but she's put in really, really good numbers. She's she's tough. You know, she puts in good numbers. She's won twice over hurdles and one in a bumper in good figures. Ben Jones obviously ridden a winner this week. Yeah, I thought she could outrun her odds.
I completely agree with you. She's not far behind Jubilee Alpha on the Windsor form either, is she? I mean, that ties in quite closely. Ben Jones, for me, him and Sean Bowen are riding better than anyone in Britain these days. I think he's an absolute top-class operator. So every time you get him on board, you've got £5 on half the rest of the field, in my book.
Okay. Anything the Ryanair Mares novice for you, Mr. Stevens?
First thing to say is we are 5 places each way. It is that competitive and that open looking. Look, Kills' belief in Galileo Dam has been quite contagious over the last few weeks. We've been doing these preview shows. But as Tom says, the price is not what it was. And at 4-1, perhaps one to leave alone. I like the horses have all been. I like Jubilee Alpha. I think if you like her, you've got to like Diva Luna for the yard flying on that Aintree bumper form. Look, Paul Nicholls, we know, isn't going to have many runners here this week. Hasn't had many runners, but he's been talking this one up as probably his best chance of the week. And at 10-1, I still think there's a bit of juice in there with the 5 places. And the other one that was behind Jubilee Alpha that you mentioned, Ross, was Bluey, and she's a 33-1 shot.
Lovely. Thank you very much, David. Okay, the 2 o'clock now. Welcome back to the Jack Richards Novices Limited Handicap Chase. We've missed you in your absence, that's for sure. And 20 of them line up for the newest old race on the go. Firefox and Nürburgring are 6-1 joint favourites here. Springwell Bay 7-1, Asia Master 7-1, Holwell Potter 8-1, Answer Cave 9-1, Pickrock 10s, Lord of Thunder 11s, and bigger the rest. We've seen some well plotted, interestingly campaigned horses win handicaps already this week, Robbie, and I reckon there's 20 runners, and I reckon at least 15 of them probably tick those boxes too.
Yeah, it's very hot, isn't it? Your shortlist is probably going to be about 10 horses long. Went it down to 2. I've had a few quid on Answer to Cave. I like horses who do run well on Martin Pipes and come back over fences. And he just looked really, really good at Nace last time, I thought. A lot of his form's on softer ground, but I mean, he ran really well at the Punchestown Festival on a quick surface in the spring, I thought, last year. I think he's going to go well. I think John Shinnock's not a bad rider at all. And another one, Insurrection. Been a bit underestimated, I think, possibly because Harry Cobden's riding Caldwell Potter. I think Cobden's always going to ride that horse. I mean, they obviously paid a few quid for him, didn't they? Insurrection's coming a bit more under the radar, but he did easily beat Astel Pasta. It's quite a small horse, Dan Skelton sent off odds on that day. Astel Pasta went off quite hard, and Insurrection really saw it out well that day, and everything else was completely tailed off. He's gone up £8. I think that's fair.
Well, I mean, and also he wasn't far behind Springwell Bay in October.
That's another thing I was going to say.
Difference.
This is exactly what I'm going to say. I'm not that keen. I'm not sure John Joe O'Neill's horses are flying along at the moment, and he actually in that Chepstow race he did get the last a bit wrong. I think they've been closer. So with that £12 swing, I think he's a massive price. I think a lot of that is due to the fact that Cobham's not riding, and a lot of Nicholls horses are probably being a bit overlooked because he's not had the best year.
Yeah, okay. I did message Mr. Paul Keeley earlier on as well, and say what you going for tomorrow, and he's gone for Insurrection, and also Ryan's Rocket, who is of course in the same ownership as Insurrection, or at least one of them. Obviously.
That sounds to me like Ross. He's had a night out with the Noel Feely Racing Club.
It does, doesn't it? Yeah. Two in the novice handicap. They would have said.
Exactly. We've got one in the novice handicap.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, Ryan's Rocket's quite a little bit interesting in the sense that he's got some good ground form, and he had a spin around the track last time out in soft ground, which I don't think he would have liked. But God, there's loads in here.
Oh, go on forever. Now I'm biding my time because I'm hoping Mr. Stevens isn't going to tell me I'm barking up the wrong tree. But I quite like Lord of Thunder for Joe Tizard. I thought he ran an absolute blinder 2 starts ago. He was nearly brought. It was at Fosslas. He was running against Handstands, who went on to beat Django Bay at the Arkle. He must have lost 15 lengths. He was nearly brought down at the 7th. And he came scything through the field and got sort of on handstands with us coming to 2 out. Got a bit tired after that, unsurprisingly. But he's then come out and beat Pickrock, who's a horse I think's got a good chance in this race at Newbury next time. And he had a spin round Cheltenham at the start of the season, and he tipped up when he was going quite well. But I think the Tizard handicap chases are going really well. Two of them finished second on the first day. I think Lord of Thunder's going to run a big race. I think the tongue tie has totally changed him round. I just think he's in great form. Down the bottom of the weight, a lot going for him. I think I like him quite a lot, Lord of Thunder. Okay,
Lord of Thunder then, who is off a low weight. Which I mean, obviously, I used to love this race. I mean, not Atlantique. What was the Ferdy Murphy horse? Might have been called it. What was the Ferdy Murphy?
We're going back a few years now, aren't we?
We are.
Ferdy Murphy won this, did he?
Ferdy Murphy won this back in the day when it was. When it existed. I'm waiting for someone's got to tell me in the
I just remember Applutard as one of my earliest memories of this race.
Oh yeah, I mean that's a fairly recent one, but yeah, I remember Ferdy Murphy. It might have been what was it? Someone's got to tell me on the chat. Anyway, I don't know. It was a low weight.
L'Atlantique or something, L'Atlantique or something like that.
Yeah, it's just, 3 people lose their minds. David Stevens, has there been any? I mean, there obviously is quite a lot of eye-catching market moves anti-post of this race, I think, as people went, "Oh, that's entered." Has there been anything over the last 24 hours?
Well, Lord of Thunder has shortened up, which I can now attribute to the man who's on the screen with us here. And the good news is the trainer shares your confidence, Tom. He actually had him in the plate as well. This was always the first choice. I think he might have picked up a small fine from the VHA for double declaration. Anyway, he's chuffed that it's got into this novice race. And as you said, the two yesterday both ran big races. JPL 1 didn't, but that was a strange old Grand Annual, as we've said. So couldn't put you off Lord of Thunder at all. I like Springwell Bay. Again, this is a horse that had a few options coming into this festival. This is the one they've plumped for. And on the Nichols horses there, obviously Robbie likes Insurrection, as does Keels. Paul Nichols to win this race, he's obviously got Caldwell Potter as well, is a 7-1 shot from 11-2. And look, I don't want to be accused of telling tales, but you reckon Keels might have had a night out with the Noel Feely Racing Club. Keels is starting a little bit earlier than late night, more around breakfast time. But anyway, I don't want to drop the man in it.
Well, I mean, you have. Whether you want to or not.
What's a stitch up?
Yeah, whether you want to or not, you've stitched him up something rotten. I still can't say it. Someone's really in the chat. It's so L'Antarctique for Ferdy Murphy.
That's what I said.
It is what you said.
What year was that? What year was that, mate?
It was at least 20 years ago, I think. It was 2007.
Cool, you've been following horse racing for a while, haven't you?
I'm older than I look, hopefully.
Wow.
But you know what? He was number 17 on the race card, Tom, and he was off 133. And Lord of the Thunder here is 17 on the race card, off 134. So actually, for somewhere in the annals of my brain, that horse reminded me of that horse, and very, very similar profile, I feel. So, okay, lovely stuff. On to the Pertemps then, where 13-2 favourite. Here it is a JP horse, of course, and it is Jericho de Repenay at 13-2. You win some, you lose some. It's 7-1. Will the Wise 8-1. De Art is 8-1. Feet of a Dancer 9-1. Carl de Turrell at 12s. Catch Him Derry 12s. Henri II at 14-1, and then Bigger the Rest here for everyone's favourite race to watch back the last 2 furlongs of all the qualifiers and go, whoa, bloody hell, that was eye-catching, wasn't it? And there's loads in here. In particular, Jericho de Repenay. Tom, kind of split the opinion on how eye-catching he was at Exeter, but I watched it back and I thought Nico, I don't know, he the thing I was thinking...
What are you trying to say, Ross?
I'm trying to say, in my head, the music, bum 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 dum bum 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 dum, was happening. But look, again, it's one of those races. It's a qualifier. That's the way these work. But clearly, this has been the plan.
Yes. I did a Zoom preview with a few of the Nicky Henderson mob, and this was their nap of the festival. They thought it was working the house down and that he was going to win. I didn't quite see it as you saw it. I thought he was a bit of a lummox at Exeter, but whether he was purposefully a lummox, I don't know. But he's got the cheek pieces on, which makes me think that Nicky Henderson thought he was a bit of a lummox too. I know when we did the preview in the office, Nicky suggested that he just wasn't trying that hard. So maybe trying, he's just a bit slovenly at the moment. Now maybe that has changed in his work since, because that was his first real performance of the season, and he's got the cheek pieces on. So I totally get it. Look, he's a classy horse who could win, and he'll stay. But I think Win Some Lose Some might start favourite over him. I think I don't know. I thought this was wide open. I like one of those Irish ones. I like Diart. It would be top of my list just simply because, the Thomas Cooper horse ran absolutely off its face in the bumper today. He's got a very good record at Cheltenham when he brings only a few horses over. Very good form on good ground the twice before, and then he went to Carlisle last time on soft ground over a furlong further, and he just got outstayed after looking all over the winner. Been kept fresh for this, so I think he'll go well. And the other one I like is Feet of a Dancer, who pulls too hard, and I'm keep falling for these horses that pull too hard, because Be Aware gave himself no chance in the Coral Cup today, and they told us that he went nuts when he went for a gallop at Huntingdon, and you sort of think, oh, they'll be able to stop it and they'll be able to set them down, and they can't really. It's really, if you're a hard puller, you're a hard puller. So I'm a bit worried that she'll be too keen and not get home. But if she settles, I think she's got a good chance too. So they would be my two against the field, Diart and Feet of a Dancer. But I know for a fact that there was a big word on course going around about this Carl Dukes round.
Let's go.
Which I didn't know much about.
Let's go.
All right, well, I think Robbie's
going
to tell me. So
yeah,
Robbie, tell me.
What was the word? What was the
Robbie,
word?
I'll let you breathe.
Yeah, I just I thought he's one of those Irish qualifiers, which was pretty eye-catching. He's got an unusual profile because he was actually a really good juvenile. I sort of forgot about him, but he ran. He was second to Bottler's Secret over 2 miles at Fairyhouse last season. But I find a lot of these horses in juveniles run over 2 miles that they don't really get races to run over trips they want. And when he was up to 2 miles, Punchestown, a couple of starts back in the qualifier, he just ate up the ground essentially. It was a really good performance. He's sort of, I wouldn't surprise if he was like a leading staying hurdler in years to come. He's quite a high mark for a young, inexperienced 5-year-old. But the form's there. He beat the subsequent winner in good style. Second to that subsequent winner, Franciscan Rock, the Mouse Morris horse. And I'd just draw a line for his latest run over 2.5 miles. It was sort of muddling gallop. He's been put away for this, so yeah, really like him. And one thing to say as well, Philip Fenton, you were saying like Thomas Cooper, he doesn't have many runners there. He's not had one since 2014. I know he was sort of not in the training ranks for a bit, but he's had one winner and a third from his last 7 runners at Cheltenham. So I don't know. I just thought it was interesting.
Yeah, of course, Dunguib.
Dunguib, correct.
Good horse for him a few years ago. Do you want a fun stat in this, Tom? Because it's one of the best.
No, I don't, Ross. I feel I'm going to get it, but no, I don't.
Honestly, this is. But genuinely, I think this is one of the best ones of the week. It's genuinely one of the best.
Good now, you've given it a big build-up. They're all waiting at home for this one, so come on.
All right. Last 9 runnings.
Yeah.
8 winners and a horse beaten on the line. A nose into second. Tongue ties. There you go. 8 of the last 9 winners wore a tongue tie, and the only race that wasn't won by a horse with a tongue tie, the second, it was Alaphilippe that year when he should have won, and Keels is still feeling the pain from it. Tongue ties. So there's only 4. It's a 4 or 5 every year. There's not that many.
So everyone's scrolling down madly to find the tongue-tied horse in the
American Sniper, Maxi Matt Gold, Doddy the Great, who I genuinely actually think has got a pretty good chance. I thought he was quite eye-catching last time out. And are they the only 3?
Don't ask us. No one else is that sad.
Say that again.
No one else is that sad to be searching down for how many tongue ties is running in the.
Look, if we start to get into levels of what's sad or not between a lot of us,
none of us here are cool, Tom. Let's be honest.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
I'm gonna win. I know I'm gonna win.
It's the semi-finals of the Nerd World Cup, but no, maybe not that much. But So yeah, there you go. Well, look, you'll be laughing when one of them wins because they're what price? David Stevens, Doddy the Great, Maxi Mac Gold, and American Sniper.
Doddy the Great is 25s. What were some of the other ones? Maxi Max Gold is 40-1, and American Sniper is 50-1.
There you go.
There's your
I wish
driver.
we'd known this stat before, and we could have had a winner in a tongue tie. That is a supreme level of research, and I hope you're rewarded at those prices.
Well, again, I'd like to shout out to Brian Galt, who does his website, who got all these incredible stats. And if you do look at, the last year he's doing it, and he does it for free. He just donates to charity, and he's donating to the Irish Jockeys Fund, this Injured Jockeys Fund, which I think is a great initiative. So he's got loads of stats on there, but that is one of my favourites because it's nuts. It makes no sense whatsoever. What about Omri II? You liked him?
Yeah,
before?
I know Tom did as well. We were on this show, weren't we? I thought he was going to hack up at Sandown again because he was brilliant the time before. I thought he maybe sort of bounced a little bit from that. I don't know. I think he wants it muddy, and he's probably not going to get it. So, yeah, I mean, I've backed him anti-post for this, so the slip is still there, but I've not found the value because he's drifted a couple of points in the betting.
Yeah, fair enough. But you also, again, if you wanted to win this, winning that trial is probably a bad thing as well.
It's true, yeah. I just think Nichols is. There's a lot of easier prize money there. There's 52 grand to the winner there, and he likes to ready horses for these big handicaps away from Cheltenham. So I think this is a different kettle of fish. I've just gone off him sadly.
Yeah.
But hopefully I'll prove wrong because that'll boost the balance certainly.
Yeah, and he's had a bad couple of years, Nichols. Obviously at Cheltenham, but he did win this race last year with Montmoral.
He did.
Who wore a tongue tie.
Hey.
Right, on to the 320 then, shall we?
So, Ross, what do you fancy? What do you fancy in the race?
Nothing. I don't like the race. I never have done.
What? I thought this would be. You love a plotting handicap.
I
hurdle,
do like
don't
a
you?
handicap hurdle. Look, I genuinely thought Joker de Repene was incredibly eye-catching. I do think I thought Doddy the Great was interesting as well, just because this horse has been talked up constantly for years and years. Oh, it might win a good race. It still hasn't won a good race. And then suddenly, out of nowhere, that second last time I had at Haydock, I was like, oh, okay, there's a bit of ability here. First time Brian uses on tongue tie and cheek pieces. It's just a race. It's a quirky race for quirky horses. I thought Doddy the Great might run well. So.
And I can add to your confidence by telling you that when I did my preview with Mr. Henderson, Doddy the Great was his nap of the festival.
Right. Okay. Crikey. Okay. Well, I'll have to back it now, aren't I? Okay, the Ryanair then. Next up, Factor File is 5-4 favourite. Could have won a Gold Cup. Ile Francais 3-1. Could have won a Champion Chase. Protectorat 6-1 has won a Ryanair. And then we've got JLo at 12-1, Jungle Boogie at 12-1, Heartwood 16s, Envoy Allen 16s, Master Chewy at 40-1, and hanging there is the outsider of the bunch. Now we know Tom doesn't particularly like this race, doesn't think it should exist, but it's there, it's happening, and the past few years, you don't get a dull Ryanair, do you?
Nah, I mean, yeah, it probably shouldn't be there, but it is a competitive race, and I like races where there's a favourite you don't really like, and there's only 9 runners. It's got a good each way shape to it. Factor File's probably taken a lot more stick than most favourites in the sort of build up to the festival for the Grade 1 certainly, and a lot of them are getting beaten. He is a pretty good jumper to be fair, but I don't know. I think the jury's out slightly. Like, I'm not sure on the quality of last season's novice chasers that much. And, he's been beaten by Grange Clare West at Leopardstown last time. That horse it's not a top class horse, is he?
No.
So, yeah, he's not for me. At that price, he's not for me. Fair enough if you're on a decent wedge anti-post. But Ile Francais, I would say, has a greater level of natural ability. But it's just a case of, is he going to be spot on? Because he throws in brilliant performances at Kempton, and then you can just run a stinker, so I don't really know what to expect from him. Then again, you wouldn't be surprised if he made all.
I mean, we've seen it before. There is there's a possible air of Allaho about him if he can.
Yeah.
But Allaho
If he takes to the track and.
Yeah, Allaho had obviously already run around the track.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, he could. Front runners in this race, everyone says have a great record, etc. Protectorat, I don't know. I know a lot of people like him as saying he's a rock solid player. I think he wants it pretty soft over this trip. I think Jungle Boogie's quite interesting. A lot of people might laugh at me, but because he is 11, I know I've been often veterans can't win these sort of races, but he's a very unusual veteran. He's run like 6 or 7 times, and he's already showed a very smart level of form. I thought he was very good at Ascot on his sole start this season. Kept jumping out to his right, still to his left. Sorry, still won by miles. He's back going left-handed. Thought he'd shaped better than the result in the Gold Cup last year. That stretched him. His stamina, made a bad mistake at a crucial point. Henry Brommer's horses. He's actually had a couple run well in the Coral Cup today, to be fair.
Yeah.
Don't forget Qualixios, Robbie.
Qualixios,
ran very well. My favourite horse.
Who probably would have won the Champion Chase, wouldn't he?
Yeah, absolutely.
I
mean, July Flower finished 5th. He had a 5th in the Ultima the other day as well. The other day, it was literally yesterday, wasn't it?
I don't remember who you're talking about.
The short go. Bally Adam finished
short
3rd.
Go,
Captain Guinness finished 3rd.
Yeah,
so.
don't let that put you off. I just feel like he's building up to a massive performance, Jungle Boogie, and we might see it then. But then again, because he's just so fragile, you wouldn't be surprised if he just bombed out. But I thought I like races that have a short price favourite and you're getting decent each way terms. I think Jungle Boogie looks a pretty fair each way wager.
Okay.
Can I ask you a question, Rob?
Yeah,
Can I
please.
ask you a question?
Go on.
Are you? Not that I don't like Danny Mullins. I think he's an absolute genius of a jockey. Just quite interesting that he's right. It looks like it's the 3rd string. I just thought that was really weird. I was expecting either Rachel or Darragh O'Keefe to ride him because they're on bigger price ones, and they're not on him. I thought that was weird.
It is quite unusual, isn't it? I mean, I thought Rachel wouldn't be getting off Envoy Allen because he's got such a good record at Cheltenham, but yeah, that does temper enthusiasm a little bit because
Maybe.
Please.
I think Darragh O'Keefe might be contracted to ride a good few of the.
Oh, Rob Cord. That's exactly it, Tom. You've nailed it. Yeah.
So maybe it's not something I've overlooked.
No, I didn't. That actually went over my head, but I just saw that Rachel wasn't on, and then sort of. But yeah, I think I'm not going to let the jockey bookings put me off in light of that insight. Thank you, Tom.
Yeah. Rachel Blackmore, by the way, has ridden 5 horses in this race, won on 2 of them, and finished 2nd, 3rd, and 4th on the others, including Envoy Allen. I think he's going to run a bit of a blinder, isn't he? I mean,
Envoy Allen.
Yeah. He ran a stinker in the King George 2 years ago and still came here and ran an absolute blinder as well. He's going to get his conditions. He loves Cheltenham. We've seen that time and time again today. Cheltenham form. He's going to. If you could get 4 places, I'd be flabbergasted if he jumps around. He's out the 4, Tom.
I think you're right. I think he's going to run really well. I'm like Robbie. I think Fact File's too short. Look, you just have to look at Racing Post ratings to see that he's 3rd or 4th best in on this. Do you know what I mean? So why he's 5-4, I think, is reputation over substance. Now, that doesn't mean that he's not got the potential to be better than these. I'm sure he does. But he hasn't actually done it yet, and he's 5-4 to win a Ryanair. So he's off my list. I think Ile Francais is clearly the most talented horse in the race, and it's not even close, in my opinion. I could see him doing an Allaho. I could. I love the horse. I think he's just something completely different. I'd love him to win, even though I backed him for other races. But there's that nagging doubt about the track, and he breaks blood vessels. And there's, and the Stencil ran a shocker, didn't it, earlier in the week? So who knows? Who knows how he could win by 20 or he could be pulled up. I just don't know what we're going to get from him. I do think Protectorat's a member of the So Solid crew. I'm not worried about the ground for him. I think the Thursday, I think the ground on this track is already supposed to be softer than it was on the other track. My dog's going to start barking again, annoying me. And I think he'll run really well, Protectorat, because in an interview on the telly about a week ago, Dan Skelton said, "You're not going to believe this, but Protectorat is working and is better than I've ever had him in my life." And he's just an amazing horse for me, Protectorat. He was a horse I had no time for, and now I've got all the time in the world for. He's one of those ones that you just warm to. And I hope he wins again. I think he might, because I think the ground's going to be softer than you think, and I think they're going to go really hard. And it'll suit him. If he doesn't get dragged into chasing Ile Francais, which he could do, then I think he's got a really good chance. I would have him as my main bet. I'm hoping Ile Francais runs right off the track and we never see him. He's a furlong in front of everyone else because I think he's just a superstar horse. He does things different from most others. But I do think Envoy Allen and Jungle Boogie are the 2 that could throw a spanner in the works. And I also think Martha Chewy is being underestimated too, because he did win the race at Newbury, and I think he's crying out for the step up in Trip 2.
Okay. Protector being a member of the So Solid crew. I did look. You'd think that if he was, he'd have 21 seconds, wouldn't you? But
Hey.
but he does have 21 wins or places. So maybe he is a member of the So Solid crew. Can we also have a quick word for the one who's there's not many races
Jello.
where
Jello.
you've got to, haven't you? Look, you've got a 7-year-old chaser who was placed in a Grade 1 at the festival last year, who's coming off the back of a career best, rated 166, which is what Protectorat is rated, which is what Ile Francais is rated, which is what his Factor File is rated, and he's 12 to 1. He's 12 to 1.
Yeah, he was my second choice. He did seem like he put it all together in the Newbury and the Denman Chase last time. I thought he was interesting. Yeah, I mean, one thing I would say is, was that a great run from him in a novice chase that probably hasn't worked out brilliantly at this course last season? I mean, he is a better horse now.
Yeah.
And he will go on the ground if it's quick. So, yeah, he was my second choice. I'd sooner play him than a lot of these.
Yeah.
Worried about the track, Ross. I am worried about the track for him.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah, but again, it's
like the back of my hand, and he's definitely better right-handed. I think he jumps out to his. If you see him at Newbury, he always ends up on the wide outside. At Windsor, he was at Huntingdon. He's really good at, all those sort of tracks. I just think that's my worry, but it's only a small worry. He's 12 to 1.
Yeah,
and as you say, before.
Well, I'm worried about the track for Ile Francais, and he's 3 to 1. So it's
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Right then, David Stephens. Again, whether the Ryanair should exist or not, every time we talk about this race, I get excited to see what's going to happen.
Yeah, and I'm surprised actually Factor File's as short as he is, given there's no love for him on this show. No, I know, we're only 4 people, and there's plenty out there that clearly do. But I think Robbie referred to his last run where obviously they were behind Galopin de Cham, but he was also behind Grange Clare West. So he's a favourite, desperate to take on. But as I say, actually the market generally isn't, and particularly given the shorties haven't run all that well over 2 days. I am surprised he's as short as 5 to 4. I love Ile Francais. I mean, ever since he came over and won the Quarto Star Christmas before last, he's a joy to watch this horse. I'd love to have seen him over the 2 miles of the Champion Chase. He could well go and win this because he undoubtedly has the talent, but he's short enough now, given he's going to be encountering a track like that for the first time. The Protectorat and Jello form lines, I mean, they're very closely tied in on different runs this year. I can see them both running a race. It's not a bad race for repeat winners at all. So I think Protectorat has got an obvious chance. I think Jello has got an obvious chance, but it's one I would say I really want to take on the favourite with. But I genuinely, of the next three in the betting, I can give them all chances. So genuinely not sure how I would play this one, but I suppose with my heart, and we've had 2 good days as bookmakers, so I can have a heart. I would love to see Ile Francais win.
Thank you very much. On the chat, Dave Brown, Factor File, Form Beat Monty Star doesn't make him a 5 to 4 shot. You've got to take him on. Fast pace would suit Jello, says Paul Tolliver. And good evening to Lee Richardson and Ella. Big shout out to her. She loves her racing, so thanks for watching. Right then, the Stayers Hurdle, the championship race on day 3, and we've got another previous winner coming back from the crack in the shape of Tiapu at 6 to 4, but the Wall Park is 5 to 1, Home by the Lee 13 to 2, Lucky Place 7 to 1, Langadan 12s, Mystical Power 16s, Bob Ollinger 20s with Rocky's Diamond at 20 to 1. We've only seen Tiapu once this winter, and he was comfortably beaten. I mean, obviously in hindsight, he's comfortably beaten by Lossiemouth over 2.5 miles, who hacked up on the bridle over 2.5 miles at just 24 hours ago. So he is 6 to 4 to come back, but the ground isn't going to be as soft as it was last year, and the race might be a little bit warmer this year. And Crikey O'Reilly, I hope this second favourite gives him something to worry about the Wall Park. I told you he'd go off second favourite, Robbie. I told you. And there he is, 5 to 1.
I've shared your opinion for a long time. Yeah, he was a mad price for ages, and now he's finally where he should be in the market. He's even come in since yesterday. Yeah, it looks like a plan could be coming together. I mean, we're obviously delighted when he was taken out of Pertemps, because that was the worry. He was favourite for that. They're going here. He's been a big eye catcher the last twice. He obviously put in a really good time. The course, beating Gal Road, that form is working out pretty well, and I thought he was one to take from the long walk. Considering where he came from in a race that wasn't run to suit, he's just going to be finishing really well. Ticks a box course form. Lucky Place is interesting, but he hasn't proved he stays just yet. Madly against Tiapu on this ground, and it's a stronger race than the last two for sure. I think we can say that. So, yeah, take on Tiapu and hope that the Wool Park gets us over the line after this punt that's been brewing for the last 6-7 weeks, 2 months.
Yeah, I mean, look, he's got a similar profile. I mean, Paisley Park won a handicap on the way to winning this. Big Bucks won a handicap hurdle on the way to winning this. Florian Porter won a handicap hurdle on the way to winning this.
Sam Spinner. Oh no, he didn't win this, but horses do it, don't they? Yeah, they come
more of that.
Yeah, more of that.
I think even My Way to Solzham won this after winning a handicap hurdle on the way to it. So I think there's 3 mile handicap hurdles. If you can progress through that and win off a big weight, which the Wool Park did, I think you've got a big chance of breaking into it.
It's just one of those divisions where there's not a huge gap between really good handicappers and Grade 1 performers. So he doesn't have that much to find, even though he's only rated 152, 153.
Yeah, which I mean, yeah, he's got to up his game to beat Tiapu, but he doesn't have that much to find to beat nearly everything else. So I think he's going to run a huge race. He eats up the ground. He stayed up the hill so well when he beat Gamble Road. And yeah, if they go a good lick, that's all we need. We need him to go a good lick.
That's the thing, isn't it?
Yeah, we need a pace, Tom, and I think he's got a huge chance if they do go.
I agree. I think the stiffer track will be right in his favour as well. The longer run up, on the new course will be right in. I mean, we've done this. We've done so many preview shows talking about the Wool Park, hoping he was going to run. I think that's the reason why he was a big price, because people were still expecting him to. I mean, he was favourite for the Pertemps up until the decks came out. I think people didn't know whether to back him or not. I think he's about the right price now. I think it'll be shorter than that still, probably come the morning. Apart from the pace, which slightly concerns me, just slightly in the back of my mind is whether Gordon Elliott's horses are running as well as they could be.
Yeah,
I don't think he's had that many run that well this week. He's had a few, but not. I mean, Stellar Story and Better Days Ahead were placed, but the favourite in the bumper didn't run so well. I don't know. I might be looking at. When you've got one you've backed at a big price, you're always looking for reasons why things are going to go wrong. And maybe I'm overlooking it, but I think I'm still a big fan. I hope he wins. I think he can beat Tiapu on the ground. Home by the Lee, I think, is going to run a better race this time. I don't know what's happened to Home by the Lee, but he looked different this time. I've been on him for the last 2 years, which normally means when I'm not on him, he'll go and win. But I've been on him when he's a young horse, and he didn't win. And now something's, he just looks different. I think, who knows what Langadan's going to do. I'm not totally convinced by Lucky Place. And I thought at a huge price, Nemean Lion might run all right. He's another one. Him and Protectorate are the founder members of the So Solid crew, aren't they? He never runs a bad race. I think 3 miles is going to suit him. He's got Cheltenham form. He shouldn't be 50-1 or whatever he is, but 33-1. But whether he's good enough to win, I don't know. But I'm in the Wool Parks camp like the rest of you boys. I'm hoping that there's enough pace, and that does worry me, for him to come home strongly. Because if not, Tiapu's a little bit quicker than him, probably, I would imagine.
Yeah, well, I'm hoping our old friend Gamble Road is the one who sets a decent pace for us to chase. But
yeah, and Rocky's Diamond's going to go, isn't he? Rocky's Diamond likes to be up with the pace, and Home by the Lee isn't going to want to dawdle. So I don't think it will be like that.
Also, must have a shout out as well to Bob Ollinger, who of course is 3 from 3 at Cheltenham, and was travelling all over them when Home by the Lee outstayed him last time out. But we keep talking about Cheltenham horses, Cheltenham form. I mean,
he does have a turn of foot, doesn't he?
Yeah.
It's the one thing you criticise, that you just can't see him staying if this is a run at a true end-to-end gallop. But if it's not, then he's going to be coming there swinging, isn't he?
Yeah, it's just Cheltenham horses just come alive at Cheltenham, don't they?
Yeah, totally agree. Yeah.
So and also Gamble Road, by the way, the only the second horse this century to turn up at the festival, having run at every Cheltenham race over the winter, which I think is
you love that stat, don't you?
It's a good stat.
It's nice
because because the horses, where's Tiapu been? We know where Gamble Road's been. He's there every time.
It is boring, isn't it?
Yeah, it is a bit. Yeah.
Like and that Hatton's Grace run. I mean, what was the point? Like he's not going to. It was a test of speed against Lossiemouth. It's never going to suit. Like you're just written off half a season right there.
I mean, you might as well skip that and just run in March, April, and May, and have December off as well.
But I get it, boys. But if you owned him, what would you do?
I would.
Because if he was mine, I'd be doing exactly what they're doing.
Would you? I'd run him.
Yeah.
I'd run him in the long walk hurdle. I reckon. Get another Grade 1 in, because there's still a big enough gap between then and the festival. I think because
but he wants to go to they're Irishmen. They want to go to Punchestown as well, don't they?
Rob Core had a runner in Ascot. Then they had Hidden Valley Lake, almost won that.
Yeah. Look, I mean,
I just want another reason why I didn't run. They thought I could win it with another.
I don't know. If it was me, I'd want to win as many races as possible and create as good a legacy as possible. Yeah. But
it works, doesn't it? Because he was the year when Davey rode him, he could have won it that year. He could be on for a hat trick in a Cheltenham Festival feature.
Yeah, there is that school of thought that a couple of years ago, because he ran in the Galmoy a few weeks earlier on really bad ground, it bottomed him out.
Yeah,
but it's kind of different running on bad ground at Gorham Park 3 weeks before than running at Ascot 2.5 months before.
Yeah, fair enough.
But yeah, don't really like the horse. Next.
Fair enough. Well, look, I hope that Gordon Elliott does win this race again.
Yes.
With the Wall Park David Stevens, and this it's a make or break race for me this week. There's always one every festival. Everyone has one, don't they? Where they in the back of their mind, it's just been nibbling away. But 6 to 4 Tiapu again. Stayers Hurdle gets a lot of derision, but it's a cracking field. We're going to have a cracking race.
I have also backed the Wall Park anti-post, but sadly for the Pertemps. No, for the Pertemps, Tom, you're okay. So I hope you're all crying this time tomorrow when it gets beat, but that's just because I'm petty. I thought Tiapu actually, given he was sort of odds on even money a few days ago, just getting out to a price. Actually, it's another race that's got a good record of repeat winners, and actually, his form line lost him out looks good. He's had the same prep as last year. He was more interesting than a lot of these favourites this week. But I like Lucky Place. I think he's unexposed, and I'm hoping the step up in trip will really suit him. And I like the horse he beat that has come out and won since. I thought Galrobe was a big price at 33 to 1. So I thought this was quite a good Stayers Hurdle, actually, one I'm looking forward to. But it's going to be tinged with quite a lot of frustration over the Wall Park. But I've just had a message through from G-Rod. One word from G-Rod. Crambo. That's all he said. I don't know. There's nothing else.
Albeit, I'm chiselling it onto his gravestone as we speak. Crambo. Right, okay, 2 races to go then at Cheltenham on day 3. The plate. 2.5 miles the distance here. Jaguar is 4 to 1. The Company Sergeant 7s. Masaccio 8s. Jordan's 8s. Ginny's Destiny 10 to 1. Gemarand 11s and 12 to 1 bar those. We were talking about tomorrow's racing in the office, and at least one, maybe even 2 people said, I quite fancy the Company Sergeant for the plate, but Tom Segal has ruined the price.
Yeah, grrr.
But I also believe that Paul Keeley has joined in. So if you all fancy the Company Sergeant, tell me why, Tom.
Well, to start with, it's a really hard race. It's I could make a case for loads. Jaguar's quite interesting. JP, I think, has not won 3 races at the festival. He's not won the Arkle. He had the odds-on favourite, Margeborough. He'd not won the Champion Chase, odds-on favourite, John Bon. And it was interesting that this horse was sidled into this race late on, wasn't he? And I think that's because JP wants to win this race. And he thought he had a good chance with Jaguar. A few of his other horses moved out the way for him to come in. He's clearly got a good chance. That novice handicap at the last meeting, the trials meeting, it's a good record. I think Simply the Bets ran it and came and won this. So I'm not surprised to see Jaguar at the top of the market, but he's been at the top, 4 to 1's 4 to 1. The form hasn't worked out that great, I don't think. Whistle Stop Tour was lapped and Billy the Big Red was well staffed. You know what I mean? I'm not sure it's quite as good as we thought it was at the time. He could go well. He jumped really well. He's clearly improving. But I just thought the Company Sergeant was a Gavin Cromwell special. Simple as. Interesting run over hurdles last time. One thing I'm slightly concerned about is whether he'll truly stay the trip. I know he's got form over 3 miles, but I often think his worst part of the race is the last. But I just think Gavin Cromwell's horses have all run massive races all week. I think, now with the Hour might have won. He was 1st and 3rd. I know Robbie got unlucky with Vanillier in the cross country. All his horses have run really well all week. So I just think I thought the Company Sergeant was the one that's going to take a big step forward. I do think the drier the ground, the better. Jemmy Rand will run as well. I think he's got a good chance on his form when he won that big handicap, and P Dag, provided he doesn't get too far back. I think this race is a race where you don't want to get too far behind. I think front runners have, I don't know, this might be one of your stats, Ross, but front runners have a very good record in this race, if I remember. So I don't want any horse to get too far back. So that's why I thought Jemmy Rand had a chance as well. I don't like Ginny's Destiny, I have to say. I mean, I'd love him to bounce back because I was a big fan of his last year, but he's literally not shown anything. And things will have to change drastically for him to have a chance in this.
Yes, that is true. In the back of my mind, I did just think when I looked at him, I thought, oh, crikey, has this been the plan? Maybe this has been the plan. You know, everyone else plots horses up. Why can't Paul Nicholls for races like this? I'm glad you've gone for the Company Sergeant there, because that means everyone's going to ignore the other Cromwell horse that I like, which is La Malmaison, who beat 9 Graces, who I quite fancy in the last. We'll get to that in a second. And I thought ran a really good race. 3 miles, heavy ground at Exeter last time out. Good winner. Melina Girl in seconds, run really well. Sean Flanagan in the saddle. I know Robbie's got a bone to pick with Vanillier, but he's ridden 4 horses this week. William Money, Vanillier, Marine Nationale, and Midnight It Is. 2nd, 3rd, 1st and 3rd. I mean, he's having a right old week. So 20-1, La Malmaison I thought was interesting. What about you?
It's a nice case, yeah.
Mr. Wilders?
Yeah, Company Sergeant. He improved for the first time, switched to Gavin Cromwell, as many horses do. You think they found the level, and then they join Cromwell and just get better. I mean, he's only run once, but that was quite an eye-catching run over hurdles. I like it, as I pointed out last night's show, when horses prep over hurdles for the festival. We saw that with Jazzy Matty, didn't we? We saw it with Horticouleur. Connor Stonewalsh is a rider I've got a lot of time for. And just love his form for Dennis Hogan. A couple of form lines aren't bad. Like, he wasn't beaten that far by Spillane's Tower, Blood Destiny, 2 of Ireland's best novices last season in a Grade 1 at Fairyhouse. So, yeah, there's an awful lot to like.
All right, okay. Quite a few against the field there. David Stevens, what about you?
5 places each way in this, and with apologies to my Irish friends, number 18, which I think is Ompian Derg, but maybe completely different, so I do apologise, but it's the Sean O'Keefe, Paul Nolan thing. Been winning over shorter distances, but has form over longer, goes on any sort of ground, and is around a 12-1 shot with those 5 places each way.
Okay, lovely stuff. I appreciate you saying to my Irish friends then, pronouncing it in a French accent. That was lovely to see. Right, and then on to the Kid Muir, the final race of day 3, a race that personally I vowed not to ever have a bet in a couple of seasons ago. And then I looked at this year's and thought, oh God, I might have to back one. But Walking on Air is 5-1 favourite. Johnny Who is 11-2. Midnight Alfred 7. Samajest 8-1. Mint Boy 11s, 12-1. Gitmaker and 14's Bar. Part of the reason this race has frustrated me recently, Robbie, is this is, to my eyes, the ultimate Irish well-handicapped gamble race all week. I mean, they landed left, right and centre, but every year, this race, first 4 home, all Irish horses have been running in competitive races. Yeah,
we saw one of the most remarkable winners in the race's history last year. I don't know what you're thinking. I mean, it is a masterclass getting him handicapped to 145. I did the preview for this race. I went back through his form before that, and he actually wasn't beaten that far by Gaelic Warrior in a Grade 1 over a trip short of a staying trip. So I don't think we've got another novice like that in this race. I could be wrong, but I thought JP's 2 didn't have anywhere near the same sort of interest as he had going into this. Sam Majest, I think he was very lucky to beat Affidel Fury last time. That horse lost about 4 lengths after getting the last all wrong. He completely bombed out in the Coral Cup last season. And Johnny Who, I just think is a little bit overrated. He might have been laid out for it, sure, but not been that impressive over fences. I was expecting a little bit more. So I thought that Gitmaker was interesting for starters because he did run so well in this last season. I mean, take out another way of thinking, he's won it 18 lengths, and he's better effective off the same mark. I thought he'd go well. I'm not sure Jamie Sohn often says he needs really bad ground. He does have form on a. It wasn't that bad when he was 3rd in the Scottish Grand National. I'll say that. I think he's building towards a spring campaign. And Midnight Alfred is just rock solid. I like horses that have been there and done it at the track. And, in 3 handicap chases, he's finished 2nd in all of them, big fields. And he arrives in the form of his life after running a cracker in the Paddy Power. I think the Paddy Power probably a better race than this overall. a lot of horses have come out and run well since from that. So he's pretty solid. They're my two, Ross.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Robbie Wilders. Tom Segal, see us out then for the last on Thursday.
Well, the O'Sullivan clan have been having had a nightmare few weeks, but there was, with Marine Nationale and Jazzy Matty winning today, it would be even more, poetic if Walking on Air was to win, because his brother's riding this one. I think it's been the plan for a long time. He would have won the Great Yorkshire last time, but for coming down at the last, he was fourth or fifth in a Pertemps one year. He's a strong stayer. He'll like the ground. I think he's got a great chance, but you have to get in a rhythm and he has to jump. He's not been the best jumper throughout his career. He jumped a lot better at Doncaster, despite that crumpling fall at the last. He jumped the fence perfectly fine, it looked to me. So I can see him winning. I can definitely see him winning, and it would be a great story if he did win. Johnny, who like Robbie, I don't like at all. I think, I just don't think he jumps very well. And, you can get away with it if you're going to run in the Gold Cup next year, in tomorrow. Like, I know where you're thinking's going to, but I don't think Johnny Hugh's anything like I know where you're thinking. So I'd be worried about him. He'll need Derek O'Connor to pull 16 rabbits and a couple of hankies and some flowers out of his hat and everything to get Johnny Hu home, in my opinion. I like Robbie like Midnight. Fred, that's the one I backed anti-post. I just thought the Paddy Power form was really good. He is a superb jumper, an absolute brilliant jumper, Midnight Fred. I think he'll be out in front. It's whether he stays well enough. If the ground's soft enough and if the cheek pieces buck his ideas up, then Gitmaker definitely has a chance. He was so lummoxy at Haydock last time. He literally was just never went a yard and then suddenly found himself in fourth when everything else stopped. The ground that day was much too quick for him. And you've got to mention Nine Graces, who are absolutely flying this week. Obviously, William Money and Marine Nationale. He's only bought 3 horses over. She was really good the other day. She's going to stay, and she jumps. So I give her a good chance under Finney Maguire.
Yeah, she's the one I really like. I mean, obviously, Finney Maguire's riding her. You don't get many in this race that have, struck up a relationship with the horse either. And she travelled, she jumped, and she absolutely, she left them for dead over just shy of 3 miles. And yeah, I thought she'd have a big chance in this. But yeah, there you go. Okay, the Kim Muir, Mr. Stevens.
Another one with 5 places each way. I can't get the image now of Derek O'Connor riding around, pulling all sorts of things out of his top hat on the way around. I'm hoping he's just going to stick to riding this horse because I'm hoping he can really get a tune out of him. And I do like Johnny, who is currently the 11 to 2 second favourite. But yeah, just stick to riding and leave the magic tricks to another time, Derek.
Okay, there we go. Right. Okay. Right, we'll get the naps after this.
To the final bend of the Coral Fan Derby, where racing lovers of the UK are in a spectacular contest. And what's this? He's shaking his phone like it's a pocket-sized maraca. They're all getting rewards now. He's shaking it, she's shaking it, they're all shaking it. Play the free Coral Reward Shaker to win guaranteed daily rewards and offers. Coral, we're here for it.
Okay then, Stayers Hurdle and Ryanair Day 3 of the Cheltenham Festival. Best bets, starting off with 80s beatboxing.
Cheers for letting me go first.
Dance hero Robbie Wilders.
Let's go for the Pertemps final 240, Col de Tourelle.
Okay.
I'm going to give yours for you, I think. I want you to do a related double with 9 Graces and La Malmaison. You up for that?
That's my next best, because we all know with the naps.
Do the double, go on.
I will do the double. I'll get off the each way double. But
Please,
the nap's got to be the Wall Park.
Yeah, but I wanted to let you have that one, mate.
Yeah,
as well.
Yeah, I'm having them all of them. Yeah, I'm having 3.
Or Tom even.
It's got to be the Wall Park. It's got to be the Wall Park for me in the Stayers. What about you, Tom?
Lord of Thunder. I like Lord of Thunder. I don't know why. Just suddenly this last few days I've been fancying Lord of Thunder more and more.
Okay. I mean, it looks well handicapped. Mr. Stevens, nap, please.
Robbie's audition for the So Solid crew has gone really well with that outfit, so the job is his. We haven't had too many close finishes over the first 2 days, so our pipped at the post offer where if you're beaten by a neck or less, you get paid out. If you're second, hopefully we'll have a few more. My colleague, Mr. Simon Clare, assures me the 10-year average at the festival is 4 finishes by a neck or less. So should be 4 to come over the next 2 days with any luck. And my nap is Springwell Bay.
Okay, thank you, David Stevens, a man who definitely just got a message to say that he'd forgot to mention that offer. But David, enjoy Gold Cup Day, won't you?
I will. Without bringing the mood down, I won't particularly enjoy Gold Cup Day because I'm at a funeral on Friday. But anyway.
Well, terribly sorry, David. I feel terrible now. But okay, well, fair enough. It's thanks ever so much for your work this week, my good man, and the same to you, Mr. Wilders, because you won't be on the show tomorrow night.
No, this is me signing off, and it's been an absolute pleasure.
You're not on, Rob?
Nah, afraid not, mate. I've been roped off. That's no bad thing. I need to get home early at some point.
Yeah, Robbie's got a house party in the squat in Shoreditch to
Got
DJ.
a rave to
I need
go
to wear
to.
this. I need to wear this piece of kit more often. A lot of ammunition from you boys, and a lot
Absolutely.
of people on the chat are having this say as well. Someone sounded like Ronnie Cray's boyfriend. I mean, I have seen the film Legend, but I can't quite picture what the fella looked like. We're all for these shouts, though. That's why we come here.
Yeah, absolutely. I love it. I love it. Love it. Right. Okay. And if my voice holds out by tomorrow night, and you're still here as well, Tom, some of us will do a show, and Keels will be back as well.
Yeah, I won't have been out of the house for another extra day.
Okay. Great stuff. I think they're trying to tell us to wrap it up. You just put in the no over your face. Good night, everyone. See you next time.
Thank you, gents.